What would happen if one day gravity simply stopped existing? You could float around your room like an astronaut. Cars leave the roads. Buildings begin to tear themselves apart. The oceans slowly escape into space. Even the air you breathe starts drifting away. And before you even realize what's happening, life on Earth becomes impossible. How long would humans actually survive? Would we die instantly? Gravity isn't just the force that keeps your feet on the ground. Gravity is pulling you toward Earth at nearly 9.8 meters per second squared. You don't notice it because you've lived with it every single second of your life. But imagine, at exactly 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, gravity vanishes. No warning, no countdown, no explosion, just gone. For the first second, nothing seems unusual. You blink, you breathe, everything feels normal. Then, your coffee begins floating out of the cup. Your phone slowly rises off the table. Your chair no longer touches the floor. Within moments, you start floating too. People inside houses hit their ceilings. Children playing outside drift into the sky. Pets begin floating away from their owners. Panic spreads almost instantly. Everyone thinks the same thing. What is happening? At first, it almost feels fun. Some people laugh. Others record videos. Social media explodes with millions of clips. No one realizes this is only the beginning, because the real danger isn't floating. Gravity doesn't only hold people down, it also keeps the atmosphere wrapped around Earth. Think of Earth's atmosphere like an invisible blanket. Normally, gravity keeps that blanket tightly surrounding the planet. Without gravity, nothing stops those gas molecules from escaping into space. Little by little, the air begins leaking away. At first, you won't notice anything. Breathing still feels normal, but with every passing minute, the atmosphere becomes thinner. Breathing becomes harder. The sky slowly starts turning darker, not because it's night, but because the atmosphere, the thing that makes our sky look blue, is disappearing. The blue sky you've seen your entire life turns black in the middle of the day. Stars become visible, even though the sun is still shining. But this isn't even the biggest problem, because while humans are trying to understand what's happening, the oceans are no longer being held to Earth. Imagine standing on a beach. The waves suddenly stop. The water becomes strangely calm. Then, instead of moving toward the shore, the entire ocean slowly begins lifting into the sky. Trillions of tons of water, leaving the planet forever. Rivers disappear, lakes vanish, waterfalls reverse direction. Within hours, Earth begins losing the very thing that made life possible. And that's only the first stage, because once gravity disappears, even Earth itself won't stay together forever.
As terrifying as everything sounds so far, we still haven't reached the worst part. Because gravity doesn't only keep people, oceans, and air on Earth, it also holds the Earth itself together. Every mountain, every city, every tree, every grain of sand exists because gravity constantly pulls everything toward the planet's center. The moment that force disappears, everything begins following its own direction. At first, buildings remain standing because of steel and concrete. But they were never designed to exist without gravity. The pressure that once held structures together suddenly changes. Windows shatter. Bridges twist. Skyscrapers slowly begin pulling apart. Not because something hits them, but because the force they depended on has vanished. Roads crack open, train tracks bend. Airplanes parked on the ground begin drifting into the sky. Those already flying lose control completely. Inside every airport, thousands of passengers watch aircraft floating like giant balloons. Around the world, panic turns into chaos. Governments try to understand the impossible. Scientists search for answers. News channels stop reporting facts because no one knows what's happening anymore. And then, something even stranger happens. Look up at the sky. The moon is no longer orbiting Earth. People often think the moon circles our planet because it's simply moving. But that's only half the story. The real reason is gravity. Earth constantly pulls the moon toward itself. The moon moves forward through space. Those two motions create a perfect balance, an orbit. Remove gravity, and that balance disappears instantly. The moon doesn't explode, it doesn't fall, it simply continues moving in a straight line, leaving Earth forever. For thousands of years, Humans have looked at the same moon, drifting through the darkness of space, and Earth is now completely alone. But the moon wasn't the only thing orbiting our planet. Thousands of satellites, including GPS, internet satellites, weather satellites, communication systems, all begin flying away into deep space. Phones stop working, navigation disappears, live broadcasts suddenly end. Within a single hour, human civilization loses nearly every modern communication system. Cities fall silent, no internet, no GPS, no weather forecasts, no satellite television, no emergency coordination. The world becomes disconnected. But an even greater disaster is approaching. Remember the atmosphere? By now, a huge portion of it has already escaped into space. Every breath becomes harder. People struggle to inhale enough oxygen. Animals collapse. Birds can no longer fly because there isn't enough air beneath their wings. The temperature begins changing rapidly. During the day, without an atmosphere trapping heat, the sun burns everything directly. The ground becomes unbearably hot. But the moment darkness arrives, that heat escapes instantly into space. Has now started moving in a completely different way, because our planet doesn't only rotate, it also races around the sun at nearly 30 kilometers every second. Normally, gravity keeps Earth locked in that orbit. Without the sun's gravity, there is nothing pulling Earth into its yearly path. Instead of circling the sun, the entire planet shoots forward in a straight line through the darkness of space. No sunrise, no sunset, no seasons, just endless, frozen, silence, and humanity, if anyone is somehow still alive, is now traveling into an infinite universe with no destination.